choice is to just navigate the higher ed system. In the Caribbean, for those that I'm familiar with, moving from college, from high school to college, for us it's like an easier process. We do not have to discuss anything about, say, for example, Florida residency for tuition purposes. We graduate high school, we are a resident. Here, when you come here, you have to navigate the application to the college. That can be pretty daunting, but normally you would get through that really quickly. But the frustrating thing is when you want to do things like proving Florida residency for tuition purposes. What that does, if you're not aware of it, it helps reduce the cost of your tuition. And the documentation sometimes that is required is not always available. And it makes it very difficult. So sometimes we may have to work with students individually and stitch documents together to see how we can assign Florida residency for tuition purposes, because if not for that, your tuition will be 4 times what a Florida resident pays. So that can become an issue. Another issue sometimes I see students face, and I'm talking from the admission standpoint, is accessing transcripts, high school transcripts and college transcripts. Here at Miami Dade College, if you graduate from high school and you come in as a new student, we will automatically give you a complimentary first semester without a high school transcript, all right? But then by the second semester, you need it. Otherwise, you are unable to enroll. And sometimes it causes frustrations for the students, particularly why sometimes they don't understand why sometimes we need the transcript, why the transcript prevents them from enrolling, right? Because it is not something that you sometimes hear up front, right? The institution has admissions requirements, and the high school transcript, high school graduation is a requirement for you to be admitted as a freshman here. And if you don't have it, like I said, we give you one complimentary semester thereafter. We will ask you for that. For the college transcript, from the college transcript standpoint, we have no complimentary semester. From day one, the whole is there for you, right? And you have to understand all of those things. So a lot of that information sometimes you will get at orientation if you're a brand new student, and if otherwise you find some of the information from the New Student Center. And my department, which I now lead, is the Admissions and Registration Department. We are more able to give you guidance. So coming out of here and going into culture now, one of the biggest issues, and I'll tell you what I faced when I came into the United States as a Caribbean student. If you're from the Caribbean, you're basically friendly with everybody you meet on the road, right? Yeah, you are trained to say hello to everyone who is half an hour older than you are. Half an hour, all right? You're trained to respect those persons, all right? If you don't, you'll be very lucky if you don't get punishment from this adult that you didn't greet and from your parent, right? That's how we were raised in the Caribbean. So imagine I come in here, and whenever I meet someone, especially someone who's older than me, I say, "Good morning, ma'am," and "Good morning, sir." And they watch you with this blank stare. What are you talking about? It took me a while to get accustomed to it. Eventually, I still do it. I give them the option to answer or not to answer. All right? But it was a huge shock for me coming from the Caribbean, being raised in that kind of culture, and then coming here and meet persons when you say good morning to them, they look at you like something is wrong with you. All right? So I don't want to take more of the time because I can speak, like I always tell Miguel, if you give me the opportunity, I can speak for the same amount of time tomorrow, you'll be here still.
So Tara, you essentially came in directly from the Caribbean. Could you share any challenges that you faced, or maybe you didn't have a challenge because of your involvement on campus?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So there were challenges, there are still challenges, the first thing I said when I came off the plane and I came to Miami and I saw the town, I was like, yo, you guys have no trees here. No trees. But coming as a student to Miami Dade College, it's a lot of back and forth, as my fellow panelists here just said before me, it's a lot of documentation, so I had to be back and forth with my relatives back home in Jamaica about getting my transcripts to transfer them here, and everything is a wait period. So you call and you order the transcripts, and you have to wait for them to process the transcript, and then you have to wait for them to send the transcripts here, and then financial aid is like, oh, it needs to be here by Friday, like, you know. So there's document processing. There are a lot of information that we're not aware of, like certain forms that you have to fill out in the financial aid office, or even in advising, or even to get your classes. So it really takes time that you really have to analyze and see what you really have to do. And even to the courtesy call as well. For my first couple of classes here at MDC, I used to ask permission to go to the bathroom because it's just something I was used to. So I used to be in class and like I need to leave or whatever, and I would like go up to the professor and be like, oh, Professor XYZ, can I leave the room or whatever? And it came to a point that one of my professors was like, you know, you can just leave the class, right? And I was like, you know, I'm sorry, it's just something that I'm used to. So yeah, it takes time, but it's the small things that I do, yeah, for me.
Thank you. So perhaps a faculty perspective on challenges. I know we have we don't just have Caribbean students in the classroom. We have students from all over. So what sort of challenges perhaps do you see with that population?
Well, from a faculty perspective, and again, for me, I have kind of gone away from the Caribbean perspective in the classroom. I approach it as everybody's everybody. But for me, I'm trying to relate information, and I'm trying to create associations between experiences and information. And from a Caribbean perspective and a Caribbean background, my experiences are very different from the American experiences. So for me, it's trying to make those connections that are meaningful for students. That is the difficult part for me. And most of my students, I'll make crazy jokes and silly jokes in there that are, you know, trying to, again, elicit using the cultural references in order to actually make those associations. And that's the hardest part that I see for me from a faculty perspective. It was interesting because everything that Dr. Carbon and the young lady just expressed is exactly my experience that I had coming up as a student, myself as an international student. So yeah, you know, just did on those things. But from the classroom side, it's for me mainly. The other thing too, from a classroom side, is the access to the resources. Knowing where resources are and what's available to you is also, you know, a big part of that. So that's a difficulty I had as a student, and a difficulty that students coming in not knowing what resources are available to them, and no way for them to actually, or it's not an easy way for them to go and navigate that system. That's it.
All right. So you have the option of add-in, or I can move to our next question.
Good day. I'll just make one comment because older than they are. In my time, when I got here, my sister said, take the GED, forget the transcript story, because everything wasn't computerized then, so we didn't have to wait to call to Trinidad to get it. So as soon as I came, within the next month, I took the GED, so that was my starting point to start my college career.
Thank you. So, Mr. Knights, how has your background contributed to your success?
Actually, it's a little bit interesting because even though I finished high school at what, 15, the age of 15, 15 going on 16, I didn't go to college immediately. And I know sometimes that's usually a question for a lot of students, you know, well, should I go to college immediately? And I always tell them you have to do what is right for you. Prior to, as was mentioned, I'm actually a licensed auto and diesel mechanic. So I went to like a technical school, that's what we're calling back home in Trinidad, and I got licensed in that. I'm also a certified journeyman. So it's kind of like the step you take before you go on to be an engineer, where you're actually the technician who actually works on equipment and that type of thing. So I worked for a large company. They're no longer in existence right now, but it was one of the largest companies back home. They had over close to 10,000 employees. And working, I think how that really helped me is when I actually made the decision, probably about 7 years later, said, okay, now I'm ready to go to college. A lot of the classes that I actually took in my field for engineering was actually, a lot of it came naturally because I had the actual hands-on experience. So when, they're talking theoretically, let's say about how welding is done, I did welding with all the burns and everything. So, it's easier for me to really get a good understanding of some of the concepts they talked about versus students who never had any of that type of experience, so they're only going from a theoretical standpoint. So for me, I think that was really beneficial, which is why I also encourage students, if you can get some type of hands-on experience in certain areas, regardless of the discipline, that does help to put some of your classes and some of the knowledge you gain in college into perspective.
Thank you. Jovan, you want to add?
Alright, so yeah, why did my background?
Your background. How has your background contributed to your success?
Okay, so yeah, from my bio, my parents would always send me to Jamaica growing up, so I would always see the importance of culture, because the culture in North Miami Beach is much different than the culture in Kingston where my family was based. So I always saw the importance of people, trying or willing to understand others and how that's important. So like in North Miami Beach, predominantly Haitian, and growing up, Jamaicans and Haitians didn't always have the best relationship. So I'm still kind of like that bridge between my family and understanding, other cultures, particularly Haitians. So I think now working at Miami Dade College, I used to be an advisor, now I'm more of like a program assistant / secretary. But in my advisor role and still in my role now, because I still work with students, I think I still bring that quality of trying to understand and be that bridge and to really understand where the student is coming from, be empathetic and all that stuff. So yeah, and I saw this, I listened to a lot of videos. I saw this one quote, this monk, he was like, if you see somebody else as yourself, nobody has to teach you like empathy and understanding, you know what I mean? So if I see you as me, you don't have to teach me to be kind to you.
Peace, brother.
Right?
So Tara, you came from Jamaica. In terms of academic preparation, you're a high achieving student. How do you think academically your background in Jamaica prepared you for your academic success here?
So linking back to what Miguel said before, CSEC stands for Caribbean Secondary Examination Council. So the high school structure in Jamaica, or roughly throughout the Caribbean, is that you have 5 years of high school, you do CSEC, and then generally you go back for additional 2 years, which is sixth form. You have lower six, upper six, and then after the end of sixth form, you do CAPE. Those 2 years in sixth form is kind of roughly equivalent to you doing your 2 years here at MDC or at a community college. Because at my high school, when you left with your AA at the end of sixth form. So I did my 5 years, sat my CSEC examinations, and then came here at the age of 17. And what I noticed with a lot of the intro classes, or even though most of the math classes, science classes that I took here, I already had prior knowledge from Jamaica. Most of the work I did already. So, because even one of the subjects that I did at CSEC, which was additional maths, so you have general maths and additional maths, if you're crazy, and I'm crazy. So, at maths, when I had to do calculus here, I was familiar with most of the formulas, everything from high school. And when I would say like, oh yeah, I know that, whatever, they're like, oh no, it's just preparatory, whatever. No, like I literally did this before. So academically, it helped, it boosted me. So cause I think it propelled me to even the current job that I'm doing right now as a chemistry tutor at the science complex. So I could use the knowledge that I had from there, as it was a really strong foundation to kind of just build on it. So academically, it really propelled me forward when I had to do my classes here.
Thank you. So in the interest of time, because time is rolling, we have 2 questions. So since Miami Dade College is a change maker institution, how can we construct even stronger bridges between the different Caribbean cultures among all 8 campuses, and also those communities in which the campuses reside? That's one question. And think about what advice you can share with our students here and faculty when working with students generally and in particular from the Caribbean. So the change maker question.
I'll take the first question. All right. So yes, back to the predominantly Haitian neighborhood I grew up in, and back to my family being Jamaican. So, growing up, people would always make fun, Jamaicans make fun of Haitians, Haitians make fun of Jamaicans. But as I got older, I learned about the history, and I learned that Jamaica and Haiti helped each other to liberate each other. So, my last trip to Jamaica, there's National Heroes Park, and then they have a statue of Simon Bolivar. Do you guys know who that is?
Yes.
Who's that?
Liberator of Latin American.
The liberator of the...
Yeah, so he liberated a lot of South American countries. And they have a statue of him in Jamaica because he used to live in Jamaica when he was exiled from Bolivia? Bolivia. All right, thank you. And I learned that he actually went to Haiti to get reinforcements. He liberated like Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, and how much of the people from those countries know that he went to Haiti to get supplies and resources? So I'm saying Miami-Dade has 8 campuses in all of these different communities. So what if we had days or events where we showed how our countries have helped each other in the past in order for us to live better in the future? So, yeah.
Anyone else on the change making question?
I think we as Caribbean natives, or even people who are influenced by Caribbean culture, should take the initiative to, as I agree with Jovan, to host events that where all people of all Caribbean descent, or non-Caribbean people anyways, can just come together, like fetes or carnival or CSA.
What is a fete?
I think it would be fitting for Trinidadians to really define what fete is. It's like parties, getting together. Even CSA here, the Caribbean Students Association here, not a lot of people knew about it. And I feel like if Miguel was not at my onboarding, I would never know that a CSA was at MDC. So I feel like more clubs or organizations that can pull students in to really get to know about other Caribbean islands would be ideal. Because a lot of things I learned about Haiti or the Bahamas or Trinidad, I learned from the friends that I had from CSA or even Trio.
One of the advantages Trio provides, we try to get everybody together, whether you're from the Caribbean, non-Caribbean. We give you that family background, make you feel comfortable. When you come to Trio, we support you, not just academically, but other social supports. For example, Thanksgiving, we have our own Thanksgiving dinner, brunch, whatever, and parents might be working. So again, if we all pray together and eat together, so we give them that that comfort zone. Chris and Chrisanne, for example, they came straight from Jamaica to here. And also besides coming from the American culture, they're infusing the subculture of Miami. So Trio, I knew was a good asset to them and many others. Now in my case, I moved from basically Trinidad, Washington DC for 9 months, and then to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Where I went to a classroom, I was the only black one with an accent, as they say. So that's an adjustment. But we all have a purpose. We came to learn, we came to get our degree, we came to succeed. So this is what it is. You get to meet people, know their culture. You share your culture with them because they have all kinds of wrong notions about you and your culture. And when I went to Tulsa, they had black music on one side, white music on one side. And I told them, I say, you all are crazy. I'm here to bridge the gap. Music should have no color, and we will start now.
Amen.